stumbling toads like to drop keys. And the toilets here always have a rather high up place that you would have to pull the chain to flush from, which shows that we also have a sink and a mirror, which is pretty common in any sort of washroom, a medicine cabinet, and of course the radiator. And a nice kind of floor, because you know you're always going to splash things in a washroom. And a couple of paintings, just because the ghosts like paintings. And we're going to go into the bathroom. The difference between a bathroom and a washroom, of course, being that the bathroom actually has a tub and does not have a toilet, whereas the washroom has a toilet, but of course both of them have a sink and a mirror to go with it. There's also a couple of shelvings here, and you know, a nice big wall so that if someone just wants to wash their hands, they don't have to walk in on someone taking a shower. I'm going to now take you into what would kind of be the start of Area 3, which would be the courtyard. You'll notice the nice tree that kind of hangs across the edge here. You'll notice the large statues that sit in the courtyard next to the rather tall lampposts. The fountain, which I always thought was a really beautiful thing when I was playing through Luigi's Mansion, because it's surrounded by all these nice flowers. But of course there's always the well, which you can see has a place to pull up a bucket with it. But one nice thing about the well, I'm just going where you can go down and actually look at it. The only thing down here, of course, is one little lantern that keeps the place lit. There's also this hallway, which shows us a bit of another room that's going to be a little bit more. Okay, and you can kind of see the edge of Mario's portrait there. But of course, just like Luigi, we can't get in and save him yet, but we know that he's a portrait. That's kind of bad. But there's not much we can do for him, so I'm going to get out of the well and continue down the rest of the courtyard. You'll notice the birdhouse here, where you would find Mario's letter, which is, as the fortune teller said, very short. Look out for Boo's Luigi. Here we also have another of the statues and a lamppost to go with it. Here, of course, is a shed, a nice hiding place for one of the toads. Now, Steve, of course, is not as small as a toad. Unfortunately, he doesn't fit in there, but the shed is there. Some toad could hide in there if they thought that they were being chased by Boos. We're going to go into the rec room here. Of course, home to the famous Biff Atlas, which shows us the hanging punching bags, and of course the treadmill. Now this calories burned 0 actually wasn't in Luigi's Mansion, but that was in Mario Party 4 if you were to play as Luigi and see that his exercise bike showed that in the gift section of Mario Party 4. So there's this green thing that, similar to the things in the projection room, I never actually figured out what it was. There's a couple ladder-like things on the walls, and of course they like to hang swords on the wall in this room too, as well as the exercise bikes, which you can see only have one pedal, so I don't see they're not really going anywhere with them, but they're there all the same. A nice brick, which I'm sure you would rather like to land on these mats if you're going to be knocked away by punching bags. I'm sure you'd rather not fall on this brick. So let's not, and keep going forward. That covers pretty much most of the main floor, so we're going to go up to another part of the second floor. We're going to go into the tea room, which would focus on a lot of ice. This would be where you'd find the ice badge. But here we can see there's nice little teapots set out. Someone's probably planning a party. We've got a couple shelves to store all sorts of other china in it. There's a candle on the ceiling. Now, of course, Luigi can walk on the ceiling here, whereas Steve doesn't get to defy gravity, so I can just show you the rest of the tables and the chairs. And the other side, which would hold more china and anything else you might want to put in a tea room. So we're going to keep moving along here. This is probably the longest wall with the infamous red vases. Always a good place to go farming for coins if you're short on them. And the upstairs washroom isn't all that much different from the downstairs. The only difference really is that there's no toad in here. There's a few other ghosts instead. So there's radiator. There wasn't any medicine cabinet up here. So we're gonna keep going. Show you the other bathroom, where of course you would find Miss Petunia, who loves hot showers and hates ice. As you can see, someone's filled the bathtub and is ready to take a bath here as well. We have an actual medicine cabinet instead of a shelf. That was about the only difference between this room and the other bathroom. So now we're going to go across the hall into Nana's room. Now you might think Nana is a nice old lady who knits, and she does have her table full of yarn here. She's got her books. She's got a shelf above it because she likes to read. And she's got her sewing machine back here. Her lovely table because, you know, you always want to entertain guests. Table is on a very nicely made rug. We've got her dresser drawers over here, which is another good place to search for loot and coins if you're looking for them. So but I'm not searching for loot. I'm sure we could always find more down below the depths if we wanted to. So I'm going to take you now into Astral Hall here. You can see that the torches are aligned in a kind of a star pattern here. The star floor I thought was always a neat feature of this place. So we also have a couple of drawers here that could hide a couple things, but mainly this is where you would find a few nice shy guys amongst the marble and star. And you can kind of see that the portraits are here on the top, and we're going to go forward into the observatory, which I decided to design before you destroy it because it made the house look prettier. There is actually a working telescope. You can see pretty far down into the forest. You can see a couple pigs here. Of course, there's the chair for when you're not stargazing, and a desk if you want to take notes while you're doing so. It's fairly well lit. It's a fairly small room, but of course, if you were to look if Luigi was to look through this, you would of course break the room and proceed to find a star. But I thought the house was kind of prettier to make it pre-destroyed. I was just asked how long it took me to make. This is probably took me well over 100 hours. I've lost track of how much time. I've been working on it for a good 9 months here, off and on. You can see that you can't actually get into the sealed room. We couldn't we couldn't barricade it, but iron doors pretty much do that. You can't really get in there. So we're going to keep going and show you the sitting room. Now the sitting room is an optional room in Luigi's mansion that is home to a few elemental ghosts, but as you can see, as its name shows you, there's a nice table to sit at if you want to entertain your guests. There's also a few flowers on the corners here and lots of nice portraits. Chandelier. There's also a hat rack over here. So we're going to show you the guest room, which was another room that has two designs to it. I chose to show you the right side up version because unfortunately beds just don't like to be upside down. Because when you would first walk in here as Luigi, everything would be upside down. But instead I'm going to show you the nice dresser and the nice double bed that Supi would love to have, or if, just as a guest room, if you need to put up anyone else for the night, you've got the space. And some lovely portraits for them to look at while they're here, if they can't sleep. So we're going to keep going here. I'm going to now show you the third floor, which changes us from a more modern kind of drywall design to a more of a wooden design, like you said. And you can see there's another trick door here. We're going to walk into the safari room, which as you can see has dead animal pelts and a couple of heads in it. And you can see the deer heads hanging on the wall above the table. You can see that the house is kind of slanting in now. There's the chest that's sitting on the table over here, which would store another nice big heart. There's a nice big chair here if you want to just sit down, and a bunch of crates that, you know, there's crates. So we're going to keep going here. We find more trick doors. The ghosts like to be a lot more trickier on this floor. There's trick doors everywhere.
Is it okay if I upload your world so other people can play?
Yeah. Okay. As you can see, though, you can always detect a trick door because there's only doormats in front of real doors and not trick doors. So I'm going to show you next the artist's studio, which of course would be the last normal room that you would normally see in Luigi's Mansion. As you can see, there's lots of paintings sitting on their stands because Vincent van Gogh was still working on them. You can see all the easels of his masterpieces. You can see the wall of the chimney in the background there. You can see a few of the books that line the background and amongst the other stuff. There was all sorts of stuff on the shelf here, so you can see there's stuff all over the place. And then, of course, the last painting he was working on, which was the key to the secret altar. And we're going to keep going here, because as much as I like art, I just can't look at it all day long. Which will bring us to one of the bigger rooms in the game. Well, if you call it a room, this is the balcony, which, of course, has the nice unicorn statues, and all along the edge features lots of plant life, some light posts here, but lots of plants. There's a few benches. Of course, the benches are not here when you get transported to fight Boolossus, but the benches are a nice touch if you just want to sit down and, I guess, look at the top of the house. You can see all the other light posts here and the other unicorn statue. So I think we're going to get into Area 4. Fortunately, opening this door for Steve doesn't cause a power outage, because that would be really annoying. Walk past a couple more trick doors. I think I'm going to go show you the armory next, which is full of lots of suits of armor all standing inside here. And I'm pretty sure the pattern they're in is trying to guard all these chests, which I don't know why they're guarding these chests. Most of them just contain ghosts. You can see the mirror on the side, as well as a nice painting. They did do a nice job on the rugs. So we have lots of suits of armor, which I can't walk between, but neither could Luigi, so all works fine. Take you into the ceramic studio next, which is full of jars. Yes, jars, because Jarvis likes to make his jars and hide in them. Amongst all the chairs you can see here, if you can see there's a chair there, but mostly the room is also full of crates and a table, but all to store more jars. Jars are everywhere here, and of course you can see the other chimney there. So now I'm going to backtrack us a bit so that we can get into the telephone room. I'm not sure what the thought behind putting just a telephone room in is, because if you heard any of these phones ringing in the basement, if you could, you probably wouldn't get up here to answer them before the other guy gave up on listening to you. But the telephone room also does show us that there is some tables, nice comfy chair, another dresser, shelves, because there's always shelves everywhere. One nice thing I liked about this room was kind of the archway they put in the middle of it. Arch is always nice. The large chests where you can see the skeleton ghosts appear. You'll have to open all those chests if you're Luigi to get through this room properly. And another dresser, which of course is full of loot, like most other dressers. Now I'm going to take you into the clockwork room, which of course is full of clocks. And unfortunately, these clocks don't make noise, so you don't have to be annoyed by the constant cuckoo, because I'm not going to sit here and say that over and over. But you can see the kind of tables that the clockwork shop would be working on. Just a normal kind of work table. He's got, for some reason, he has both a chair and a stool in front of his table. You can also see the clockwork treehouse that is sitting on this table, as well as the few other clocks that are on this side of the room. And it's another one of the shelvings. Now, normally there would be a way to elevator to the roof, but there's just not that kind of room here, so we're going to take a ladder instead. and we can get to the roof, which was a good place the Shy Guys thought to put a nice campfire. And I don't know,